I forgot what you call them, screensaver type things.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the source code. This is going to be version 1.01. I'm not going to call it season 1 or episode 1. Nope, it's going to be a tech show. So we got to keep it related like that. So version 1 meaning the season and the episode is 01. So version 1.01. Now, today we have Brian Ross, who is currently a student at Make School. As you can see, the hat right there. And we have Scotty Shaw, who is a former teacher at Make School. And yeah, welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for
So,
having us.
Yeah,
of
great to be
course,
here.
Of course. So, for today's topic, we're going to be talking about NFTs and what's like the craze about them, what's going on. Like I'm hearing people are selling close to $200,000 worth of NFTs and it is getting wild out here. So let me pull up the article really quickly and we'll just dive right in.
Let's see what's going on.
All right.
Yes. I did make a mistake though. I did not introduce myself. My name is Elias Mbugu and I am your host.
Yeah, I was like, who are we talking to right now? Who is this guy?
Yeah,
Yep.
some guy in New Jersey or something.
Oh yeah. All right. Let me pull this up. $1,000 worth of NFTs and it is getting awesome. Let wild me know out
Oh,
if you here. guys So can see that.
Yes, I can see it.
Awesome. Okay. So as you can see in this title, somebody's saying not to give this billionaire your money for his tweet. I definitely saw this on Twitter way before this article was written, and I didn't think it would get this popular. So, as you know, Jack Dorsey is the current CEO and co-founder of Twitter, and one of his very first tweets. Give me a second while I change the view, so I can bring everybody up.
He looks like the world's youngest 50-year-old in that picture.
Yeah. Okay. We
He's
should
going
be
for
good
that
now.
Luke Skywalker look.
Yeah, he looks like a Jedi Master, like a true Jedi
Yeah, he
Master,
really
straight out of
does.
Star Wars. Alrighty, so as I was saying, Jack Dorsey is the current CEO and co-founder of Twitter, and one of his very first tweets was just setting up my Twitter, and you can see this is from 2006. And apparently he's trying to sell his first tweet as an NFT. So what exactly is an NFT? And we're gonna do this right here live because I have no clue. So what is NFT art right here? And what's this buzz about it? Oh, as you can see, people are trying to sell it for like 69 million. So there's
Nice.
definitely some craze about it.
Yeah.
Let's do meaning. So it is a non-fungible token. So I'm guessing it's some sort of artwork in the form of a token, which you can sell and is authenticated by blockchain. Now back to this article, I saw a price tag that really spiked me. Right here. Give me 1 second.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Yeah, so right here, this price tag, at one point it was $2 million. Now it's at $2.5 million just for a single tweet that everybody has access to. That is a bit bizarre. And I've seen such as Logan Paul, he was selling fresh air or something like that for like 200,000, just like a can of air for 200,000. So people are getting creative out here. Let's start from the top. So Jack Dorsey, the billionaire co-founder and CEO of Twitter, a man who stands Bitcoin right now on his Twitter bio, is attempting to sell his very first tweet as an NFT, a digital good that lives on the Ethereum blockchain. See, that I didn't know. I didn't know it lives on Ethereum. I would have assumed it was Bitcoin. So that's a good note. Let's see. Yeah, see, this is what surprises me is the fact that the tweet is publicly available for like the past 15 years, and now people are trying to sell these free things essentially. Um, so yeah, I know Brian, you did a little bit of some reading beforehand about NFTs. How do you have any thoughts so far? Things like that.
Yeah, the whole thing with NFTs is very interesting to me. And what I didn't realize is that the person that wants to buy this tweet, what for 2 million, it looks like.
Mhm.
Oh, I guess 2.5 million from
Yeah.
Justin Sun. And I thought that was very interesting because Justin Sun, of course, is from Tron, which is another cryptocurrency. So
Yep.
obviously, the people who are in the field of blockchain really believe in these NFTs. And I got to be honest with you, I was very skeptical at first, but I think they might be onto something. I'm not sure what they're onto, but I think they might be onto something because the idea of having this this thing that can be unique on the internet. It's really the first time, I guess, in internet history when you could have a unique copy of something, because that was a big deal back when we had music coming on and the Napster and all that. Well, we can download music unlimited amounts of time, and everything on the internet you can copy an almost unlimited amount of times, but not anymore, not with the NFTs. I don't know what the implications of this will be 10 years out from now, but I'm very interested. And I think there's a few ways it could go.
So Scotty, I think what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna have you paint, and we're gonna sell your art as NFT to fund our future projects.
I will say that it's funny you bring that up because going off what Brian was saying, a lot of this is also perception. So, for example, um, in the Western world, we talk about if you're an art master, uh, what you do is you try to create your own masterpieces. Where in East Asia, a lot of times you would show your skill by recreating the same art.
Interesting.
And if I tell you right now, I can recreate the most famous Chinese painting ever, most people would be like, okay, who cares? Because in the Western world, I didn't create something new. Where in the Eastern world, they would say, oh my God, that's amazing. He has the skills to actually copy the same thing that person did. And I think part of it is, not to get too deep in everything, but part of it is in the Western world, we focus a little bit more on your individual talent, your individual person. So there's a bit of why are you copying others, imitate until you can innovate. And of course, we see that in tech, the international spats we have between various companies. But I think this is where, if I create a painting, it doesn't matter if I create my own artwork or I copy someone else. The fact is, what's the perception? Do people think, oh my God, I want Scotty's painting because that's the one Scotty Shaw in the world? Or no, there's other Scotty Shaws. You can check Facebook. Unfortunately, they do exist. But the fact is, you could devalue it simply by arguing, well, there's more than one Scotty Shaw. You could increase its value by releasing lots of articles saying, oh my God, here's this one person, he made this. This is why you should want it to cost this much. But then you could devalue it further by writing another article saying, no one cares. He's not an art master. He's never really practiced art. He's come from very different areas, some tech, some sports. So what does he have to do with the art world? But then you can say, well, what about LeBron making some artwork? And I think a lot of times, we're kind of saying, all right, here's this thing. We want to own it, right? It's more about wanting to own it rather than necessarily it's the only unique thing. Now, in this case, NFTs, it does increase the uniqueness, but I think, there's still the perception. If I don't want it, it's pointless. You can't sell it to me. I don't want it. But if I want
Yeah.
it, then I'm going to be chasing the price tag.
Exactly. It comes down to who determines the value of these items. It's just like blockchain. It's just like cryptocurrency. Who is determining the value of a cryptocurrency? So the same thing as NFTs. Who is determining that this tweet or this Pokemon card is worth upwards of like $2 million that I've seen, and it's really interesting to see what society actually values in terms of what we have today when it comes to art and other digital goods as well. Um,
Hmm.
so going back to this, you can kind of see they summarized it pretty quickly, going by in other words, it's just an autograph, the tweet that Jack is selling, and I'm just like, yeah, in a sense, it is an autograph, but you would be the only person who has access to this autograph. Technically, you would have the rights to it, essentially. Well, would they have the rights to the tweet?
Yeah,
Mm,
the deal with the copyright is very interesting, and that's actually what I've been kind of focusing on specifically. Is is the copyright aspect of it, because there's a famous comic strip writer named Scott Adams. He writes the Dilbert comic strip.
Oh yeah.
And he was talking about NFTs, and he was saying, I'm thinking about making the first Dilbert comic an NFT just to see how much someone would pay for it. And he got very in depth with the idea of copyrights, to the point where his conclusion was it's not entirely clear that copyrights are even going to matter anymore for digital goods, because a copyright, once you create anything, by default, you own the copyright to it. You have, it's copywritten already once you create it. And I was in music for a while. I used to be in a band. I managed artists, my band, hip hop artists, etc. And you do, so I have experience with copyrights. And once you create something, you own the copyright to it. However, and this is a big however, it's not enforceable unless you register your copyright. And the way you do that is you register it, you register anything, print media, songs, or whatever, you register it with the Library of Congress. And that means if a court case comes and then you have to go to court and prove that you made this song before someone else said that they made it, well, the only way you can really prove that legally is if you have it registered with the Copyright Office. However, with these non-fungible tokens, with these NFTs, the copyright is almost a little bit irrelevant. You wouldn't need to register the copyright because we already know who owns it. So we already know who's created it, and we know who sold this art to someone else. And I'm still not entirely clear, if I have this comic strip, can I use that for commercial purposes? Like, can I print this comic strip in my book and make money off of it? Or I'm not entirely sure. Probably not. I would guess that the copyright just stays with the original author, but that's just a guess. But it's very interesting how copyright and ownership comes into question once we deal with these NFTs, because the way I understand it, if you own the NFT of a song or you own the NFT of an artwork, you don't actually own the copyright to that thing. The only thing you do own is the NFT itself. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
It does.
I
It
think
does.
one example is if you look at Hollywood or media in general, right? With Top Shot,
Right.
if I say I have the NFT for a dunk from Zion Williamson,
Ooh, big money.
yes. Here's the thing though, can I use that in my own videos? And you could argue yes, but most likely the answer would be no, because the NBA has a strong policy. You have to have the express written consent. ESPN or whatever channel that play happens on, or at least the game he plays in, if it happens on that channel, TNT, ESPN, ABC, they also have some rights. Now, if I say I own that moment, it doesn't mean I own it by myself because I didn't create it. Zion did. It's not part of the NBA, or I'm not part of the NBA. I'm not part of ESPN, despite my best efforts. I'm not in that. So my issue is if I can own that moment, I think it's kind of like saying I have downloaded a still, a JPEG or a PNG of Captain America. I can put it all over my Facebook, Instagram, anything I want. I can even say that's my LinkedIn profile picture, but I would never be recognized as Captain America. People would simply say, "Oh, it's cool that you have ownership of it, but you didn't create it." So if I buy Mona Lisa, you have private ownership, but it's not, it's not your creation, it's your possession. And I think it's going to be something like that, to be able to say, "Oh, I bought a DVD of this movie." To some degree, I can use that stuff at some point, say, Universal, Disney, they're going to come after me and say, "Okay, this is beyond what we're going to allow you to do." And then that's where it goes to court. And then based on, court precedents and stuff like that, I think it is a bit of, where does society draw the line?
Exactly. And one question that definitely came up to mind is when there's like an art auction, an art piece is being auctioned or a digital art is being auctioned, do the rights go to the person who bought it through NFT? Like that still remains unknown, and that could be very troublesome for uh law cases, things like that. So I think that's also a big factor into how NFTs play out and things like that.
Yeah, definitely an interesting question. And I'm not sure if anyone really knows the answer to it just quite yet, especially in general when it comes to copyrights. If I can touch on this really quickly. In my opinion, the realm of copyrights and trademarks has to be one of the most loosely defined aspects of law, especially when you look at someone like Vanilla Ice, when his song dun 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 dun
Yeah,
dun 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 dun. Yeah, he stole the entire intro, except added one extra note at the very end. That went to the court, and the court said that that was okay, which is a really big head scratcher to me when you look at someone like Pharrell and the song, what was it, Happy, or one of his big songs, Get
yeah.
Lucky, maybe. And then the Marvin Gaye estate sued him. And to me, these songs sound nothing alike, yet Pharrell lost that court case. And so it's one of these instances where whoever wins the court case might be determined by who has the most resources to lobby for their particular outcome. So I'm very interested to see like where this actually, because crypto in general, not even just NFTs, but crypto in general, I think the courts really aren't sure what to do yet, and they're a slow moving process by design, but it's a very slow process. So yeah, no, legally it's very interesting, these questions.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying. The perception. What society are you from? What people are saying. We could end up with, in two different states, they have different answers, and then even then, a different country, different continent, they're going to have different answers as well.
Right.
Exactly. And let me see if I can pull this up because I just Googled this right now and this blows my mind at how much people are willing to pay. So this was already sold. So Logan Paul is a YouTuber and he has sold $5 million worth of NFTs. And I say that's absurd because he already has a very, very expensive Pokemon collection that has gained popularity. So now that I'm hearing that he sold $5 million in NFTs, I might need to start drawing now because that's a lot. Um, but yeah, 3,000. Jesus Christ. Okay, and I think it went for one entire Ethereum. Okay, so my question is this: so with NFTs, they're built around Ethereum, correct? So are they valued based off of the price of Ethereum? How does that work entirely?
Scotty, do you have any insight into that? Because I'm not entirely sure how much it's
Mhm.
based to the
Yeah.
price of Ethereum beyond the price that it takes to like verify the transaction on the blockchain, which I hear for Ethereum is rather high relative to others.
I mean, I think part of it is also, it's constantly fluctuating, so it is a bit hard to nail down. It's not like, certain currencies are tied to each other. Some currencies, it's kind of, the petrodollar, for example.
Right.
And on top of that, I've been hearing a lot. One of my close friends in Chicago, he does a lot of, stuff related to finance and stuff, and he believes that Bitcoin and Ethereum are both heavily overvalued. But, you know, it's like stocks, it's a lot of perception.
Yeah.
Um,
Overvalued relative to what is always my question.
Yeah.
well, he was saying that it's like stocks, like for GameStop, for example, when it hit over 300, that was just a lot of people were buying it, but did people actually want it, or were they just pushing the price up because with Wall Street bets? And there's always a bit of manipulation involved, not necessarily in a malicious way, but there are ways to influence the pricing, the cost, and all that. And I don't think he meant overvalued in a bad way. I think he just simply said that, you know if you start digging into it, you would start to see, oh, it probably is valued higher than what most people would actually consider reasonable. Now, of course, what does that mean? But it's like perception. Because, like I said, if you want to sell me something and I don't want it, you can't convince me to buy it for any price. If you give it to me for free, okay, I guess might as well. Then I take it home and just put it aside and forget about it. And if I want it, then usually I'm trying to, within a certain price tag, I'm trying to get it. So yeah, I don't mean this in any way to say I'm against any of this. I'm just saying, there is a lot of uncertainty. It's brand new. We a lot of us are still trying to figure this out.
Yeah, and going back to who is valuing these NFTs, what would you guys, who is one creator or someone in society you would buy an NFT for, and what price would you pay if you had to pick one person?
It's a tough question. That's a tough question. I don't know. I know that I really want to get one of these NBA Top Shot moments. I do know that. I want to buy a pack, but they're so hard to buy. It's like, it's unbelievable. I can't
Yeah.
figure it out. I guess if I was gonna pick someone that I don't know. You know what I would buy? I would buy something from probably something that would have a lot of like nostalgic value to me or something like that. Like, I don't know, like a Red Hot Chili Peppers song or something like that, because I was really into them as a kid. I don't know. It's really tough. I'd buy the first Dilbert comic. I know that, and I was mentioning that earlier. That would be something. But I don't know. I think almost right now my attitude is I don't even care what it is. If it's an NFT, I'm going to buy it, and then we'll see what happens. If the price is like I can afford it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Mhm.
it's tricky because well, part of it is most of us grew up with more the perception of I own a thing, a physical thing. So I'm trying to think, who would I want to buy an NFT from, because I keep thinking, all right, what if I could hang out with a certain person? But then that's not exactly buying an NFT. That's more, hey, can I pay for some of your time? Or maybe, it's not even a payable thing. It's just, hey, who wants to hang out? So at the moment, I'm not even sure who I would buy the NFT from. At least, the way it's constructed at the moment. I don't know if it's something even if I had the money, all the money in the world, I don't know if it's something I could buy. So I don't know. I'd have to think about this some more.
Yeah, it's a really tough question. What about you, Elias? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking, so if Elon Musk wants to sell me his digital blueprints for one of his spaceships, I would be, more than happy with that.
Yeah, that would be nuts.
Yeah, anything from Elon Musk, I'll be set. We
So
do have
here's a question
Mhm,
though.
mhm.
I guess what's the upper limit of what you're willing to pay?
Oof.
As a percentage of how much money you have. So even if you have like $100 in your account or $100,000, like what's the
Yeah,
maximum
let's go
percentage?
with that.
Um, maybe 10%. Yeah,
That's
I would.
that's a pretty good amount.
Yeah, maybe 10%. It would have to be something very, very valuable. Um, yeah, I would say 10%. What about you guys?
100% of my disposable income. I would go 100% all in for Elon Musk blueprints. Wouldn't even matter.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now that I think about it, because those blueprints could be worth millions. So
It's such a weird thing because, like, all right, for buying it, like, just for me, like, its original purpose, like, I'm just going to sit here and look at it, I probably don't spend that much money. But the second that there's this potential for it to go up in value, now my risk calculation, like, changes a lot.
Yeah. Because there's also the emotional calculation of, oh, if I own it, but I can't even use it to make money, I can't even use it for much other than just, hey, let me open a file. But then if someone else buys it, there's just this deep regret of, oh,
Right.
why didn't I buy it? Because then I can at least set aside for myself to not use, but now I don't even have that chance. So
Robert Cialdini, he's one of the grandfathers of persuasion and behavioral economics and behavioral studies in general. In his book Influence, he talks about the 6 principles of influence, and one of them is scarcity. And that's what to me is like the real story here is this artificial scarcity that's been implemented into technology, causing prices to go up because, just like Scotty was saying, like, even though I have it and it is just a file and I could probably just like Google it and look at it whenever, the fact that I own it and there's only one of these and then I sell it, well, now I've just lost something. And that's a scary feeling sometimes. And that scarcity, I think, is really the driver of the price, like Scotty was saying, with perception. And I don't know. I'm trying to see if what would pop the bubble, because right now it seems like we're getting this hyper expansionary period of this bubble that's growing and growing, and I'm not sure if this is one that gets pretty big and then pops as soon as, as fast as it came it went, sort of thing, or is this going to be
yeah.
a Bitcoin where it has its phases in the media, but it's always there and slowly but surely it keeps going up
In
for
fact,
no
Elias,
real reason.
scroll down on the article real quick.
Sure
Towards the
thing.
bottom there's a list of updates. All right, right there. Update March 6th, 3:20 a.m. Eastern. The highest offer is now $363,000.
Yep.
8.5 hours later, it's already, it's 5 or 6 times that. And then from there, however, it's another almost 6 hours. It only increases another 500,000. Now, of course, we know that a lot of times the morning is when people see their news. They see, oh man, here's this thing. So the price gets driven up. But you could argue, well, what happened in the afternoon? Maybe the value acceleration, it started to slow down. Maybe it was hitting kind of that leveling out point, or maybe it was just as simple as we all placed our bets in the morning. We haven't checked yet. Whatever the case is, it sped up a lot in the morning, and obviously at some point it tops out. But maybe someone comes on and says, no, I'm going to offer 3 million, and then someone comes on and says, oh wait, I'm going to regret this. That FOMO 3.5, and it could jump again.
Exactly. And going back to what you guys had previously said, one of the worst feelings is having the feeling of, oh, I should have bought this, knowing you could have, but now that you did it, you're just like, ah, shucks. And I'm pretty sure the people who are bidding for these, they're really after it. And also you got to keep in mind, like, this is the CEO of Twitter, so that's probably why this price is so high. And we did get one of the comments in the stream was, if the artist is not well known, no one would be interested in the NFT. So it all comes down to how well known is this person, how much value do other people give into this person. you know um Really quickly, we did have a question. It was, would you be able to resell your NFT once you have it? And if so, does the copyright transfer to that user, or to the buyer, or who does it belong to?
I think you can sell the NFT, right? It's just like if I have Bitcoin, I can sell that. If I have a house, I can sell that. It just means that at some point I owned it, and then how do we keep track that I ever owned it, or if we keep track at all? Which with stuff like Bitcoin, usually we do, or at least I can't think of a way that to erase a previous owner's ownership.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's possible with the Ethereum blockchain. And yeah, I mean, of course you can resell it, because there's no reason for the price to go up if you can't resell it. If there's only one of these things, then yeah, you can definitely resell it, and you'll have entire proof of ownership the entire way through, from Jack Dorsey to whoever you are now, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of like the Ellis Island of this item, because we're seeing all the different names and all the different addresses, not physical names, but we're seeing the different Ethereum addresses and this, and the journey that it takes. And so I could see, I don't know, maybe in 1,000 years, this is like a version of archaeology, as finding these NFTs and like, look, it's Jack Dorsey's first tweet, and we had the entire record. And I don't know, that could be pretty cool. But
Yeah.
we'll have to see. As far as what happens with the copyrights, I would assume whoever owns it, they're going to be the ones who would have or not have the copyright. The previous owner of it, of course, would not have whatever rights, depending on what the courts, to even have any a firm statement on what the copyright situation is here. I think anyone that tells you they know is lying, because I don't think anyone really knows
Yeah,
yet.
Yeah. The
I'm
best
thinking.
analogy, oh, yeah, the best analogy I can offer is and why I mentioned earlier, very early on, art in Eastern Asia, in East Asia, because I could see it being like this. So let's say there's a famous painting from 2,000 years ago. People who own it throughout time, in East Asia, back in the day, they would have these seals. They would stamp, their family name or something like that. It's kind of like a brand on your cattle. They would stamp this piece of art or something like that. Obviously, not right on the art, not all over the place, but they're kind of on the fringes. Kind of like if you look at the Mona Lisa, the frame, you might stamp on not necessarily a frame, but kind of an area that's kind of away from the art. And so there are certain pieces of art that you can see very quickly who has owned it during what dynasty and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And so I could see how right now people are like, why would I want to own Jack Dorsey's tweet? But Brian, you mentioned archaeology. Yeah, no one cares right now that much, just a few people. But those are probably the people thinking, this is something that in 50 years will be worth a lot, because by then I gotta dig through so many tweets to find that tweet.
Yeah.
Or they just own it. I just pull it up and say, hey, here it is. And I think that's part of it. It might not be worth a lot now, but the pricing that people are offering is more for posterity. And if I own that piece of artwork from this famous painter and I place my stamp on it, if it's stolen, people will recognize that was Scotty's. He didn't create it. Someone 2,000 years ago created it, but he is the current proper owner. And I think obviously with NFTs, it's hard to steal it. But that's where someone could say, yeah, Brian definitely owns it. It was created by Chris Evans and Marvel, this Captain America thing, but Brian owns it. And of course, Brian's starting thinking, that's a good idea. I should buy that.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
That's
and
really interesting.
I'm just thinking, so if I register this NFT as like an unofficial copyright and I sell it, do I have to unregister the copyright? Like how does that work entirely?
No, you wouldn't unregister it. There are ways you can sell copyright. Like a lot of people don't know this, but this happened a lot, especially with 60s bands. And that's the type of music era that I know, because that's the type of band I was in. But in the 60s, the Rolling Stones, they lost the rights to their music through some shady shenanigans. And the Beatles, they lost their copyrights too. And in fact, I think the most recent owner was Michael Jackson, the Michael Jackson estate. But I think Paul McCartney was able to buy back most of the songs, or at least the songs that he had written himself, and then he could play them on tour. So it is possible to sell and buy copyrights. If you make an NFT of a work and then sell the NFT, does that confer ownership of the copyright of the work itself? It doesn't seem like it on the surface, because the NFT is not the original work itself. It's more of, it'd be one thing if the song could only be played through the NFT, or the artwork could only be viewed through the NFT. But because this is more like, I guess, autograph is not too far off, but this digital only one of these, it seems more like a collectible item than it would be like if I owned a stormtrooper helmet. I don't know if that gives me the rights to a stormtrooper, but also I don't even know if it matters. I'm not entirely sure that having the copyright would even matter at all for any of the NFTs, because ultimately it's about having the NFT. It's not about, do I have the right to reproduce this in mass market? I don't know if that's why people would be buying these NFTs. If so, if you do get the copyrights, then the value of the NFT skyrockets, because now there's a tangible asset behind it, and there's a use case, and there's all these different practical considerations, along with it being the only one in the universe, and also being verified on the blockchain. That would make the price go. Maybe that's why people are buying it at such high prices, because of the speculation of that. I don't think so. I think people are just buying it just to buy it, but that's my thought.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I guess, it's the eternal question, ownership versus creatorship. It's absurd to think, how would the Beatles not own their own music? They created it. Yeah, but unfortunately, through whatever happened legally, they gave up the ownership of the creator, or the copyright, the ownership, kind of saying, I created it, but I'm gonna let you take primacy. So if it goes to court, they'll enforce it. Of course, the question then is, can you enforce it or not? Because if I say right now that I own Brian's headphones, unless I can enforce it, he's not going to give it up. But if I somehow find a way to enforce it, we could see, wow, that's weird. Brian's headphones are suddenly Scotty's just because Scotty said so. If I can enforce it, okay, I guess that's what happens. If I can't, then it says, okay, Scotty, say what you want, whatever.
Yeah, Scotty, you kept asking for my headphones. I don't know what that was about.
Oh, they are nice headphones, that's for sure.
Thanks. They came as a package deal.
Nice.
Yeah, got a good deal on them.
So,
So
I guess I do want to
mhm,
kind of turn this question towards you, but
mhm.
since you did bring up NFTs as a topic originally, I guess for you, it sounds like you're trying to think about ways to get into that. Would you say that you would want to create an NFT of your first episode relatively quickly, or would you wait until you're big and then create an NFT for this, or I guess what you call it, version 1.1? Sorry if I butchered the name, but you know what I'm saying. Like, when would you want to create an NFT of your own stuff?
Yeah, Scotty, we could be on an NFT. That'd be sick.
Hey, I wouldn't
Yeah,
mind.
I think I would wait, keep this as a hidden gem before offering it as an NFT, just to bring the hype up once I'm big. Um, and now it comes down to how much would I sell it for? I would probably set it at $1 just to be petty and to see where it goes from there. I would sell it for $1 and I'd probably have it available for 24 hours. So the highest bid after 24 hours gets to keep it. Um, or even shorter, not even 24 hours, maybe like 6 hours. Just to say, hey, you guys had the chance to buy this, but now you didn't. That way, it brings up more hype when I sell my second NFT because now more people are going to be more aware of what I'm selling. And they'll know that this item goes by quickly. Hopefully that'll bring up the value of it. Um, but I would probably also sell like maybe my first program that I've ever written, um, which it is still live. Can I remember the link? Let me see. Let me try and pull it up real quick. This would probably be the very first NFT I would sell. Um, yeah, right here. It is a snake game that I built almost 8 years ago. Um, but yeah, I would probably be more of selling code rather than art, just to see if people would buy it, like the original source code of like different projects that I built and being able to sell that. That'd be very, very cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is the very, very first project I ever created. Well, at least published. And it's a
You
very simple snake game.
you were deploying to Heroku at 8 years ago. That's crazy.
No, it wasn't deployed onto Heroku.
Oh,
But it was created 8 years ago, but I deployed it like maybe five
yeah,
five
that's
years ago.
sick.
Yeah. But this would probably be the very first one. I would sell the source code to this if I can find it. Um,
And you're thinking like eBay. I will say this though. I don't really want the NFT of your game, but that snake with the pizza, man.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah.
I think that's the seller.
It I would buy it right now for the price of one slice of pizza. And I
Ooh,
don't know why. I
here's a
just would.
question. Here's a question.
mhm.
Would it be a thin sliced piece of pizza or a deep dish piece of pizza?
Ooh,
Elias, you're from New Jersey, right?
yeah, I
All right, so
am.
thin slice. Gotta be thin
All
Yeah,
right, all
slice.
it,
right.
it will
Yeah.
definitely be thin slice without a doubt. The New York style, you can't beat that. I'm sorry. And I
I'm
think,
with you. I'm from New Jersey too, so let's go.
yeah,
All
I
right,
think
all right. Yeah,
that
New
might be
York
the
thin
one thing that I
slice,
miss. Yeah.
50th. You better be proud of me.
Scotty, what about you? What are you going after? Deep dish or thin?
Honestly, I can't complain. I like both. I would say, obviously, you look at the picture, that's clearly not deep dish. That is a thin
Yeah,
sliced piece of pizza, if anything. So,
It looks like a really thin deep dish to me.
it
Like
well,
that's
does.
what it kind of looks like.
I
Because
don't
it's
know. I don't
red.
think I could call that deep dish. I mean, I could say maybe it's stuffed crust.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that.
Maybe it's a
Yeah,
pan pizza, like from Pizza Hut type. But there's no way I could argue that's deep dish. I can possibly argue that's thin slice, but I agree it's not exactly thin slice either. But I would say it's much closer to thin slice.
Did you draw that, Elias?
no, I found this image online.
I was gonna say that's really
Oh,
good.
Yeah,
NFT
no,
that right
I can't.
now. NFT that because whoever drew that is listening right now. They're
Yeah.
creating their NFTs. You got to get on this right now.
Oh man, I have to hunt down the original creator. Yeah, this is very nostalgic,
Literally.
and I keep it up just to remind myself of like what I started off with, and like where I'm at now. So I think that's probably why I would sell this NFT. Um, I'm also curious. Does it have to be like a digital art? Can I sell like domains? Like if I wanted to sell my URL domain, can I do that?
I feel like that would just be the usual domain transfer process, right?
Yeah, it sounds like it to me. I mean, it's interesting. The thing with the Ethereum blockchain, like the videos, the moments videos are not actually stored on the blockchain itself. Like, because the blockchain only has a very limited amount of data that it's holding on there. So what it's actually holding is kind of like a pointer or a URL to where this thing is hosted. And then the website does like the authorization and authentication process with your token, and the token gives you is like a key that unlocks your closet of NFTs. So you know, in
Mm,
that case,
okay.
you
Yeah.
know, if that makes sense to you, I mean, I guess you could put anything on an NFT, but it's a pointer
So can
in
I
this
put like
case.
so can I put the deed to like my house on an NFT? Is that possible? Like the like upload a document
I
or
guess
I would
something like
whatever
that?
I would
will there's a
argue you
way.
can, but the legal enforceability there would not be a precedent for, say, if I buy the NFT, I don't think
Yeah.
there would be the legal precedent for me to then claim your house. Of course, the courts could rule that, oh, Scotty does now own Elias's house for the cost of 367 because he bought the NFT, but
Yeah.
there is not yet that legal precedent that allows me to simply bypass the real estate market and the whole process. So I would say probably a lot of it is, what would be allowed and enforceable.
Yeah, so to answer the previous question, Shoshana, who is currently in the art field, she just answered saying you cannot sell domains as an NFT. So I guess I can't sell my name. Would have been nice, but I guess you can't.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
trying to
sure you could figure
see.
it out if you really wanted to. I'm sure you could.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could
I
buy like a collectible of the yo, that's actually crazy. Like if Google just shared like a picture of like the first Google home screen and like google.com and like here you go, it's the original Google website as an NFT. Money, please. I bet you that would work.
oh, I would buy that instantly. I would buy the code, the webpage, the rights, anything. I would instantly buy that. That would be so dope to say I own the very first Google homepage.
I
Ha,
know.
I beat you in life.
I'm waiting for like these exclusive luxury brands to hop in on this. Like when is Supreme going to come up with the first Supreme NFT or whatever, you know?
That would be
Yeah,
pretty amazing to see. I mean,
yeah.
can you imagine? Oh, that reminds me. You guys remember 5 years ago, maybe Martin Shkreli? He owned, I think, the one copy of a
The
Kanye
Wu-Tang.
album, I think. Yeah, or
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I mean, I know some people might be like, "Oh, where did NFTs come from?" This came out of nowhere. I would say maybe in the sense of the specific invention, but the concept has always been around. We just didn't necessarily jump into that so much, but even 10, 15 years ago, we might talk about, here's a big movie coming out, Star Wars coming out. Do you want to own or have, you don't have to own it, but you could just put up a screenshot of various characters, or I could buy the artist rendition signed by the actor and the artist and George Lucas. I think, we've always had this concept. It's just, we're always playing around with different ideas, different versions. And, at some point someone said, let's digitalize this, NFTs. So, for anyone who thinks this is going to go away, I would say, look at it this way. After the pandemic, we're not going to undigitalize. It's here forever. Just like how chairs, that technology is here, light, fire, writing, it's all here to stay. It probably will evolve in some way, but it's not just going to disappear.
Exactly. And the pandemic has definitely caused a big surge in, what is popular. And I think it's because people are bored and they have nothing to do. But it's interesting to see, what people are hyping up about. When I heard about NFTs, I was like, what is going on? I'm seeing people selling it for like 200,000, a million, even 69 million, as this article was saying. So
Nice.
it's definitely interesting to see what people are selling in their house. Um,
That's why I'm all in on Dogecoin, unironically. It's the only thing left that I can actually afford that has a chance of going to the moon. So we'll see what happens.
thanks to Elon Musk, I would not have known about Dogecoin. And I need to
Yeah, and Mike Cuban is crazy.
Yes, especially Mark Cuban. Those are like the two biggest accounts that I follow on Twitter. So seeing them hype up Dogecoin is like the funniest thing. And Elon Musk is like a diehard fan for Dogecoin. Apparently, uh so Elon Musk said that he's not Elon Musk, but it was revealed that he's building a city and it'll run on Dogecoin.
Yeah,
So
I saw that.
yeah, that'd be interesting. Oh, it's at 5 cents right now. No, you
Yeah.
gotta start selling, buying and selling. That's all it is. Okay.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I had Dogecoin at like 3 cents or something, and was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is kind of cool. And then I saw Elon Musk tweet, and then immediately you just see it go straight line right on up. I was like, what? It doesn't do that anymore. I think I think the market's adjusted to the fact that Elon may tweet about Doge at any moment, but it's been really interesting to watch.
Yeah. I
yeah,
think
you know,
it's just one of those things. Dogecoin to me, the first time I heard it, I was thinking of the Doge, the dog, and I was like, I what? Oh, I don't get it. I thought, well, part of it I didn't understand. I didn't understand blockchain and crypto at the time. Or I wouldn't say I understand it that well now either, but at the time I just had no idea what it meant. The best analogy I could come up with was we used to have literal pieces of gold for currency, or seashells, then a piece of gold, then a piece of paper that was backed by the gold standard, the silver standard, and eventually here's just a normal piece of paper or something like it. There's a number printed on it, and we either accept it or not. And now it's just the next phase of currency. So I think
Right.
it's fascinating. I mean, I think it's just one of those things. If you're if you're if you're caught up on the Doge part of the name, like me, you'll be like, wait, what? Try to pay attention to the coin part, and they'll be like, oh, right. This is something that could create value. Now, does it increase in value? Well, maybe not. Scarcity plays a role, perception plays a role. And I think Mark Cuban and Elon Musk pushing this, you could argue that they truly believe in it. You could argue that they just see an opportunity to hype something that will increase in value. And if they already own it, they will gain that value. So, perception plays
exactly.
a role.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't ask me why, but I have notification tweets for Elon Musk and Mark Cuban, so on Twitter. And I also happen to be in the what is it? The Discord for one of the discords for Wall Street Bets, and they were talking about Dogecoin. So I happened to be at the right moment, right time. I was looking at the price, and it was at like 0.0008. Then the first day that GameStop and the whole AMC crave started going circulating, I saw Elon Musk tweet about Dogecoin at the same time. So as he tweeted it, the price, as you said, Brian, the price skyrocketed. I don't I don't know. Did it hit 8 cents at one point? I think it did. So it's interesting to
Yeah, it was up
see.
there.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's interesting to see what people are valuing over social media, and that was just Twitter alone. Um, yeah, that's the power of social media. But I think we hit the
Crazy.
1 hour mark. Did we hit the 1 hour mark? Let's see. I think we did.
I think we have 10 more minutes if you're trying to do an hour.
It's up to you guys. What do you guys want to do?
I can go on a little bit longer.
Hey,
My
since
Mm,
my thing is I gotta eat dinner at some point, but conversation. I mean, I think one of the things is, and Alex, you've probably seen this with the stuff I do. I don't
yeah,
necessarily say it has to be a certain length. I aim for a certain length, but I just kind of
yeah.
let the conversation flow. And I think there's still a few more things that we can touch on. So let's keep this going a little bit.
Alrighty. Brian, you were gonna say something if I'm not wrong?
well, I was gonna say, since we're in the neighborhood with social media and the power of the sort of mimetic power of
Mm-hmm.
digital things going into the physical space, my girlfriend who works at Ulta, and she's into the beauty and fashion world, and she's like an influencer on Instagram and all this stuff. She
Uh-huh.
was telling me that it was really interesting. There was this lipstick that when you put it on and then you put on a mask, the lipstick doesn't come off. And for months, this
Wow.
was just sitting on the shelves and no one was buying it. And then it got big on TikTok, and then you can't find it anywhere anymore. It's been sold out for weeks and weeks. And every time it comes in the door, it just goes right on out. People before TikTok were using the lipstick and then like taking it back. They just straight up didn't like it. So it's really crazy to see. Once it's not even so much about the inherent quality of any NFT or any individual cryptocurrency, because there's a lot of cryptocurrency people that would look at Dogecoin and say, well, this is a joke, right? I mean, they create more every year. This is madness.
Yeah.
However, it kind of isn't up to the crypto people. It's kind of up to mainstream society, what mainstream society is going to value or not. And I think that that's something that is really important consideration when we're thinking about future values, or should I invest in this or not. For me, the biggest question is, what's the meme potential of this product or service or coin? Could it be a meme? If it can, then I'll probably buy some. And I don't see anything besides like Bitcoin memes are great. I haven't seen too many Ethereum ones, but Dogecoin's memes are kind of the best. And so that's kind of a really interesting leading indicator.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then
Mhm.
I think yours or Jack Dorsey article, it mentioned on the sidebar something about the Nyan Cat. I'm gonna admit, when I first saw it, I thought I wasn't annoyed. I have no problem listening to that song over and over. Of course, some people don't like it, but for me, I was like, hey, I like it. And it looks like the NFT for that is a little bit more on my side than everyone who got annoyed with the song. So
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. I don't know where it is, but I definitely do remember seeing that. And it's funny because I guarantee you, the whole Dogecoin cryptocurrency started off as a joke. And I can bet like 70% that they didn't think it would get this serious. They didn't think it would get this popular. So and that's the funniest thing, about social media. It's the least it's the least expected things that become popular and that people are like craving about. So, social media definitely has a big impact. And we've seen that with GameStop and AMC. GameStop was literally dying. And to prove people wrong, a bunch of kids and early young adults, they decided, you know what, we're gonna screw with them and start pumping into GameStop and AMC.
It's
So
hilarious.
it really is, because at one point AMC was like $2, and then all of a sudden it hits like $22 at one point. So yeah, it's absolutely absurd, absolutely absurd.
I love the internet so much. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like you get on YouTube and suddenly we're seeing recommended from 15 years ago. Wait, what? Why? Whoa,
Yeah.
well, it's 5 million views. And even the people who posted those videos, we're seeing pinned comments from them saying, I don't know what happened, but thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'll see that
Yeah.
all the time too. The top comment for some videos is like, did anyone else get YouTube recommending this like 9-year-old video to them?
And
Like,
everyone's saying, yeah.
yeah, I don't know why. 2 million views.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I didn't even know that Jack's tweet was going to be an NFT, but I definitely saw it surfacing on Twitter when other people started pinning this tweet to their profile. So I was like, what's going on here? And then a few days later, I see the article and I'm just like, that makes sense. And what's funny is somebody had to scroll all the way back to 2006 to pin it to their profile. That's absurd. That's absolutely absurd. Because let
Yeah.
me see how many tweets he has, because that's a lot of scrolling.
I'm
That's
gonna guess more than 20,000.
I'm gonna guess more than 100,000 for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
more
You're
than
right. I'm also right.
yeah, more than 10 for sure.
well, yeah. Brian.
I've seen at least
Um,
dozens.
yeah, he's also lucky he gets to have Jack as his username. So 27,000. Oh, Sakari, you're close.
Because I figure he probably doesn't just tweet short things. Sometimes, well, okay, so that's a great example. Just load on, and I can see, yeah, he writes deeper, thoughtful tweets. So he's not going to tweet all the time.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to use it. It is a great platform for getting your voice out, especially if people are willing to listen to you. So I was thinking, I mean, I didn't have a scientific way of calculating, but I was thinking, sounded like, 15, 20, 25. But I think one of the really interesting things is, was this a chicken or the egg thing? Was it he started saying, I'm going to make an NFT, and then people started painting it? Or was it people started painting it and he's like, oh, there's attention, great opportunity. Let me create that NFT. Like, do we know which one came first? The attention or the NFT?
don't
I
know.
would definitely say the NFT came first and then the attention.
All
I
right.
think I think that's usually the trend of things for the most part. Um, yeah,
It could
I
be.
think yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know, but I could see how sometimes the attention is drawn to something, and then someone says, "I'll make that into an NFT because now there's attention." You capitalize on it when it's hot, just like Rick Astley. Suddenly,
Right.
everyone was rickrolling everyone, so he comes back and
Yeah.
performs a few times.
Yep.
Maybe without rickrolling, if he had just come out and said, "Hey, I want to do it again," people are like, "Pff, who cares?" But sometimes if you're able to capitalize that, you know, it's brilliant.
It is, and I saw this firsthand with a TikTok trend. There's I'm not gonna go into details, but the trend was it was popping. I'll tell you, not a lot of people know about this trend. And what somebody did was they created a clothing brand off of that trend, and people were buying it left and right. Yeah, off of a TikTok trend,
Wow.
people were buying it left and right, and they were making money. So I think it's about being able to notice these trends and seeing what people are willing to buy, because people will buy. That I know. People will throw your wallet at them just to be a part of the trend. So yeah.
Well, I'll
Very
say
true.
this: I will gladly throw Eliza's wallet at anything.
Yes.
I'm
I
sure I'll find a way to
volunteer as
use it
tribute.
once they've accepted his wallet, but I don't know what. But I'll throw his wallet.
See what happens.
Straight out of the Hunger Games. I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah.
I
That's
volunteer your wallet as so I can get Brian's headphones.
There you
so
go.
but because it's under my wallet, it belongs to me, right? Isn't that
Well,
how
if
that
you can,
works?
if you can reinforce, if you can reinforce getting it back from Brian, more power to you, man.
Yeah. Anything I have is for sale for enough Doge or cool NFTs. Don't even have to
Yeah.
enforce it.
Yeah, I just want to see I want to see what the smaller artists are gonna do, because I think, besides the people that are selling it for, lots and loads of money, what about the smaller artists? What are they gonna be selling?
Yeah, they're
Um,
gonna make NFTs and no one's
Uh,
gonna buy them, and then it's gonna be sad. I know, I know how that is.
It
I
kind of
mean,
got
you're
me
not wrong
thinking.
there.
That would be the top.
Yeah, kind of got me thinking.
Mhm.
Um, so let's say if one day I do an absolute carbon copy perfect rendition of, say, Bing Crosby's very first recording of White Christmas.
Oh,
Expert,
Mhm.
let's say experts
dude.
go through it, audio engineers, they go through it and say, yes, he was, he made an exact copy with his voice, because the very first thing Bing Crosby had, let's say he had a code. So his voice is a little different from all the other recordings. I don't own that, but if I can create an NFT, that could be where suddenly, Scotty's unknown. Who cares? But somehow he recreated that. So just like in East Asian art, you copy the exact same thing. They recognize you as having skill, and that might be your one thing ever, but now you're known, as opposed to, well, Scotty didn't create albums. He wasn't even a one-hit wonder because he didn't create his hit. He just somehow replicated Bing Crosby voice with a code when he made that first recording. So, I think, we might see some smaller artists who, we might start saying, oh, he's a one-hit wonder just because he has that one cover he did. And it's like, well, it's not even truly a one-hit wonder, but the definition will change because maybe it's that good, it's that popular, and now there's an NFT.
Exactly. And I have a question for the viewers, because I think there's three people in here. And I know two of them are artists. What would you guys sell as an NFT?
Hmm.
Just to see where people's headspace are at, and how much would you sell it for? Um, just a bit curious. Just a bit curious. Now, Scotty, if you were Scotty and Brian, if you guys were, mastermind artists, you guys are like better than Picasso, Da Vinci, anybody. what would you draw? What would you paint or draw? What would be your like
Hmm.
masterpiece? Like, you're most famous for just this one piece.
It's a good question. I gotta tell you, I don't think I would be going because the temptation is to go like super modern and draw some nonsense and then call it art. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the my own original art. Like what would I paint, or like what painting out there would I copy? Is the question. If I was going to come up with my
Mm.
own thing, I think I'd be going with something like realistic, because I think that's actually pretty cool. It takes a lot of technical skill. I think modern art probably takes some skill in the artistic sense, but not as much technical skill. I like the technical stuff. I like the Starry Night sort of stuff. I don't know. That's what I would be into.
Yeah, I think, there's also the creation process. Picasso draws the perfect circle, and we're like, why is that so popular? Because it took him all that training. So the circle
Yeah.
is a representation of his training. We've also seen maybe here's just a piece of blue. I don't get it, but the artist created the perfect blue in that it will never change shades due to sunlight, due to moisture, due to anything. So I think, obviously those are things that, unless you value it, I just be like, it's blue. I don't care. Yes, I'm in Duke blue. I really don't care, but then someone else would care about that process. So I think for me, um, I mean, I agree with Brian. I probably would do something more, say Starry Night, or here's a scene, kind of the city life of somewhere, photograph. In fact, I would say if you said, Scotty, you can make whatever you want, not just whether it's art or not. Um, it might be a move in basketball. If you say it has to be more something that's recorded, okay, either
Mhm.
recording me playing basketball or a movie. And of course, you might say, but Scotty, would that be valued? Maybe not by others, but for me, yeah. For me, it would hold a lot of value. Now I can't sell it, I can't convert it to money, but that's not always the point of it. And I don't think everyone, we're not. It's not to say that NFTs are only for making money. I think some of it is people just trying to say, here's an additional layer of what this means to me. It just
Yeah.
happens to be
Yeah.
NFTs, which could be sold.
There's a really interesting point here that I want to touch on before we get out of here, and that is Malcolm Gladwell wrote a really interesting book talking about the mindset of collectors. Or actually, this might have been in his podcast series, but the mindset of collectors is a lot rather similar to that of hoarders on the extreme end. And the mindset here, or the thinking is, if I give up this physical thing that I have, at least this is the mindset for hoarders. I have all of these things, all of my memories are tied to these physical objects. So if I lose this physical object, then I lose the memory completely of what happened that day, of what happened that week, of my memory of this
Mhm.
person. For them, that's how their mind works. Their memory is tied to physical objects. So the collector mindset is rather similar in that by having these things, I also own not only the thing itself, but also the story behind it. So for anything that you can give a good story to, and then you stick an NFT on it, I think there you're going to have value, and there you're going to have people that want to own and want to experience that story in a way that's more personal and more firsthand.
And imagine if
Exactly.
you can put that into
Exactly.
VR, because now we can experience
That'd be
Brian's
crazy.
best moments, Scotty's best basketball moves. There's so many things that, I mean, like we said earlier, technology is always evolving. It wasn't digital all the time. Now a lot of it is digital, but we're still coming up with a lot of non-digital things. You know, NFTs, that I think that's a way to kind of take non-digital and combine it with digital. Zion does something physical, athletic, and here's a digital way to record it, but then also allow people to own that moment through Top Shot, which, by the way, should sponsor us.
Yeah. Imagine getting crossed up by Scotty and exist forever. The history of the internet on an NFT.
I would
Uh,
pay big money for that, but I'm sure the person gets crossed up would not. He would pay lots of money to destroy it, probably.
yeah, that would be. I think I would buy it and sell it at a much higher value just to rub it in the person who got their ankles crossed.
I wouldn't mind that. I would support it.
Yes, yes. Okay, so really quickly, we did get a couple of answers for what people would create and sell. So I'll just go off with the first one being Shoshana. Um, she said that as of right now, until she gets more information, she wouldn't sell anything. But if she would, it would probably be a 3D animation. So that's really interesting, being able to hold something that's 3D. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
And then the second viewer, I believe is Eleniqua. She said that she would have a replica of Michelangelo's David.
Ooh.
Word. That's
And
hard.
yeah, it is. And then but she can draw. I'll tell you right now,
I
she can
believe it.
draw. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second one that she said is a replica of the Obama Hope Piece. So
Yeah, that would be a
people,
huge one.
yeah, that
Yeah.
I think even if Obama would sell that himself too, that would go for high bucks.
Honestly, why doesn't the New York Times do that? Like, the paper that comes out. I think I still have somewhere the paper when Obama got elected, just because it's a piece of history. Like,
Yeah.
why doesn't the New York Times say, "Here's our first edition. It's an NFT. You can buy our subscription, or you can buy the paper. You can buy the really,
Mhm.
authorized by the New York Times. It's the Joe Biden presidency paper. I don't know. Maybe there's something there.
Yeah, I think even like original article pieces too, that would be like so interesting to see what life was like back then. That would be really cool.
I
That would
wonder
be
if
really,
that's
really
the
cool.
trend. I wonder if that's the trend where now now that we've tokenized everything, now we can like
Mhm.
collectibilize everything.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm, do you think the original penny that was printed is still here
I don't know.
somewhere? Like in a gallery or something? 'Cause
Maybe. Coin
I know
people are pretty big on coins. I mean,
yeah.
I think the coin nerds, and I say that endearingly. I think the coin nerds, if it does exist, I
Yeah.
don't know. What's the one that's really rare? It's like the double prints, right? Or the misprints. That's
Yeah, the
interesting to me.
misprints
The
are what's
misprinted
yeah.
currency is what's so valuable. Huh.
What
Yeah.
about I know the government would never do this, but hear me out. The original Declaration of Independence. Just imagine. Here's how it's gonna go down, right? It's not gonna be somebody from the US who buys it, but it's gonna be like some foreigner from like some random country who ends up ends up buying the document.
This is
Yeah, I
why
could see
Nicolas
that.
Cage made a movie.
I was literally
Yeah,
just watching that movie too.
yeah. Alrighty. Well, I do have to wrap it up. So I just want to say thank you again, Scotty and Brian, for stopping by, and for all the viewers listening. Um, just a fresh reminder, this is the source code. This is version 1.01, and stay tuned for next week's version 1.02. The topic, well, you have to wait and find out.
Thanks for
Scotty
having
and
us.
Brian, any last words?
Yeah, subscribe to Source Code. Do it. Hit the
Yes,
subscribe button.
yes. Hit the subscribe, hit the follow, go listen on Spotify when you're doing work,
Yeah.
so yeah. And
Play it
YouTube as
while you're
well.
sleeping.
Hit that bell, hit that
Yes,
subscribe,
yes.
hit
And hit the
Elias.
bell. Yeah, you could, as Brian said, as you're sleeping, just listen to the conversation flow.
They
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
wonderful voices. They can energize you when you need it. They can also put you to sleep when you can't fall asleep.
Exactly. And
Soothing
or
quality.
hear me out, hear me out. We could just be boring them and they fall asleep. I hope that's not the case, but as long as they're
Could be.
listening.
I'm gonna say,
uh,
judging by how much laughter we had, if they're falling asleep,
Yeah.
there's something wrong.
Yeah. That's their problem. It's the user's fault. It's not ours.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
blame the user. Blame
Really,
the
really, really quickly. Shoshana has a question for Scotty and Brian. She asked whether you guys are on Twitch, and if not, where can she find you guys on social media?
Let's go. I am on Twitch. Are you on Twitch, Scotty?
No, I've been busy with work because I run a nonprofit called Tech Tree Root. We've been hosting online
Sir, yes,
hackathons.
sir.
Elias has been a part of that, hosted
Yep.
first. And
Yeah.
so unfortunately, I have not had time to explore Twitch. That said, I am becoming a little more active on Instagram. The Fresh Duke, Scotty Shaw, Scotty spelled with a Y. If you're on Clubhouse, you can find me. My username is Scotty Shaw. I'm gonna become active again on Facebook, maybe Twitter, definitely LinkedIn. You can look me up, Scotty Shaw. For now, I'm just trying to make sure this past 365 days exactly. I've been expanding very quickly with the nonprofit and a couple other companies, offshoots, building on what I've done, and I'm trying in the process of trying to organize all the finances and streamline the processes. So at the moment, I am a bit outdated in my social media. I'm trying to figure out what I do as I come back to the real world, I guess, in a sense, because let's be real, the real world is now digital. Doesn't matter what happens after the pandemic. You cannot be undigital. Despite my best efforts to avoid social media when I was working, now is the time to start exploring what's my online presence to go along with my on-site presence. So those are some ways to find me. Hopefully in future episodes I can give a much better answer.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
on Twitch at twitch.tv/Benny Cashman. I do some live coding streams. I do some crossword puzzles. We have a crossword puzzle stream that's a lot of fun.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a great time. I actually should be doing it right now. I normally do it at 9:30, but they can wait a
Oops.
bit. But
My
that's
bad.
all right.
That's right. Quick
Puzzle.
plug, go to that channel right now, and I'm sure you'll enjoy a great episode. Everyone, you can watch Brian. And just want to point out, Brian, Oklahoma. I was born in Tulsa.
Get out of here.
Yep.
I lived in Tulsa for a few. My mom's from
Really?
Tulsa. Yeah, no, right out there in Broken Arrow area.
All right. Yeah. I was over on Garnett Road, or I guess the district. I forgot exactly, but Garnett's the name of some area or street that where I was.
That's crazy. I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
All right.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Tulsa,
yeah.
people, very underrated city. I think Tulsa's great.
Gary Busey's from there too.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
Gary who?
He
Elias,
doesn't know. He
it's
doesn't.
time for you to become
Hold
educated.
on.
He
I'm asking because I think I met a Gary V once, so I'm just a bit curious.
He's an actor, A-list actor.
You would know if you met Gary Busey.
Oh, you said Busey. Oh, I thought it was Gary V. Never mind. Completely different person.
Busey, Gary
Ah,
Busey.
okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But yeah, I plugged your Twitch channel, Brian, in the chat, so people can go ahead and tune into that. My Twitter is up on here. My Instagram is going to be Donde Productions, the same title up here. And yeah, that's all the plugging that I'll be doing today. Thanks again for stopping by, and until next week.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having me again,
much.
Elias.
Of course.